Welcome to our Thursday night edition of FSU weather. Right now, live look at Doak. We are currently in the low 90s sitting right now, 91, partly cloudy with a northwest breeze at 9 miles an hour. In temperature almanac today, we did get a high of 93, slightly above average for this time of year, but not quite at the record. And average lows were around the same today as we have a low of 68. Currently, right now, across the region in the Big Bend in South Georgia, we have 91 in Tallahassee and upper 80s across the rest of the area. So still staying pretty warm, even though fall is slowly approaching. Hopefully we'll get those cooler temperatures quite soon, and those dew points are staying pretty moist, but not quite dry. We have 63 in Tallahassee right now and 66 as those dew points. We're continuing to hopefully dry out as the days move forward. Local radar, we do have a couple of sprinkles possible throughout tonight, but the lows will begin to dissipate after sundown. And as we go into the next couple of days, putting this into motion, we have some passing clouds moving into the area, but things will begin to dry out and rain chances will begin to dwindle. So you can definitely look forward to some more sunshine in the coming days. Going into tonight, we'll be staying pretty mild into the low to mid 70s, even possibly the upper 60s, between 69 and Thomasville possible tonight, but we'll mostly stay pretty mild throughout tonight. And if you're planning to go out, it will be partly cloudy, low around 71. So we can expect a little bit of a cool down as you go out tonight if you have to. And then tomorrow, if you're going to class, we'll continue to stay pretty warm in the low 90s. We'll stay mostly sunny, so we can enjoy some sunshine walking to class tomorrow, maybe even a nice breeze at 6 miles an hour from the north. So going to our day planner tomorrow, we do have low 70s in the morning. Rain chances remain low throughout the day, and maybe get those upper 80s into low 90s tomorrow as well. So make sure to wear shorts, and in the morning, if you need to wear a hoodie, whatever is most comfortable for you, but definitely layers and shorts will be the option. And as we move into the 7-day, we do have rain chances dwindling very low, but will begin to increase towards the end of next week. But lows will stay either side of 70 and highs also either side of 90. And as we look forward to So we move into Florida, looking at our local radar. We have currently in the Big Bend, again, some passing clouds and not a lot of rain to be expected. Current temperatures are staying in the upper 80s to 90s as we move on tonight. And again, those highs are staying in the 90s. And our dew points are staying in mostly pretty mild in the 60s. And tonight we'll begin to see, again, those low 70s, partly cloudy skies. Going into tonight, again, we'll stay pretty mild into the low to mid 70s. And going to class tomorrow, we'll also see those lower 90s, but we get to enjoy some sunshine and a nice breeze. Going to our day planner, we again will see those low to mid 70s in the morning and to enjoy those upper 80s and possibly lower 90s in the afternoon. Tomorrow's forecast, 80s and 90s across the board throughout the region, 90 in Tallahassee and Bainbridge as well. And going into the week ahead, those rain chances will stay pretty low as we have a high pressure moving into the area, and those morning lows we begin to see into the low 70s. But as we take a look into Florida, we see Panama City Beach right now looking pretty sunny, 90 degrees, even 88 in Tampa as well with those blue skies. But Miami is staying cloudy at 75 as they expect some showers and storms today. Currently across the state, we do see pretty warm temperatures, 88 in Tampa, 86 in Key West, 75 in Miami and 79 in Palm Beach as they are expecting showers and thunderstorms, but we are staying fairly warm as well in the Panhandle, 89 in Pensacola. And as we move into Miami this weekend, if you plan to travel down there to go to the beach, probably not the best time. Highs will be staying into the high 80s, and chances of rain will continue out into the weekend as a low pressure system will move into South Florida. As we move to Tampa, we will have low 90s, and rain chances will be a lot less than Miami. So if you plan to go to Tampa this weekend, it'll be a great time, but do mind it will be hot. Make sure to get that sunscreen and water out if you do plan to walk outdoors a lot throughout this weekend. Orlando, we will also be seeing upper 80s, but rain chances will also be fairly limited as well. Jacksonville, a lot of the same story. We will have possible rain chances, maybe a shower or two, but mostly sunny skies, partly cloudy skies, staying in the mid 80s throughout this weekend. Pensacola, if you plan to go to the beach this weekend, it'll be a good weekend to do so, as it will stay in the upper 80s, and as well, those rain chances will remain low. Currently in the radar right now, again, we do have maybe a sprinkle or two possible as we go towards sundown tonight, but afterwards it will begin to diminish and we will begin to see a lot of more clear, drier weather. But as for South Florida, that might not be the case, as we have a low pressure system pushing down, causing a lot of showers and thunderstorms across the Everglades and going into Fort Lauderdale. So those around the I-95 corridor, please be careful driving, as there's going to be a lot of heavy rain possible. And same for Central Florida. Even though not as much rain, we do have a couple of scattered showers and thunderstorms moving across I-4 and again into I-95 towards Rockledge. So make sure to be aware, weather aware, when you are commuting back home today. As we go across the whole state, we do see, you can begin to see where this low pressure is. You see those showers and storms going off into the Atlantic, and we're starting to stay dry the norther we get up into the Florida Peninsula. And throughout tonight, we'll be staying fairly mild, some showers possible in Central and South Florida, but Northern Florida, Big Bend, Panhandle area, we'll see mild temperatures into the low 70s and partly cloudy skies moving into, and even tomorrow. Tomorrow we'll begin to see a heat up in the upper 80s, 90 even in Tallahassee, 91 in Fort Myers. So we'll be mostly staying in the upper 80s and 90s throughout the state. But again, we'll have more sunny skies the northern we go into Florida. So as we move into the southeast, we see Richmond 79. And we do see those upper 90s into Florida. Wind speeds right now are staying north at around 9 miles an hour in Tallahassee, 6 in Birmingham. So you can see this high pressure system coming in as we see those winds from the north, bringing us a little bit of cooler air and drier air actually. But if you see how in Miami, winds at 10 miles an hour currently. Southeast Futurecast, we do see again this rain beginning to accumulate into South Florida, but as this high pressure moving in the system throughout the weekend, we do expect a lot less rain to happen, a lot of drying out, and a lot more less tolerable more tolerable temperatures to enjoy throughout the weekend. And for our muggy cast, we do see a lot of humid temperatures, especially in Miami, as we get dew points staying in the low to mid 70s. But as we go farther north, we can see it begins to dry out as it kind of goes into the 60s, which means that we would have less humid weather. It's still humid, but not as humid as we do usually expect here in the southeast. SPC storm outlook for today, we do have the threat for some showers and thunderstorms to the Midwest and to the northern parts of the country, but mostly for this southeast, we are staying pretty marginal to or non-severe for just showers and thunderstorms. And that will basically continue into the weekend, as tomorrow that non-severe chance into Central and South Florida will continue, and the threat up into the Midwest and up north will stay non-severe to just showers and thunderstorms. Same thing for Day 3 going into this weekend will stay pretty non-severe, and just expect some showers and thunderstorms possible this weekend. Now, if you're going to Charlotte, do expect some low 60s actually to enjoy, pretty nice weather, and rain chances will remain low, and even those high temperatures in the low to mid 80s to enjoy this weekend. And if you're planning to go to Nashville, much of the same story, but Nashville will see a little higher afternoon high temperatures, possibly even the low to mid 90s, but those lows will be getting into the 60s as you get a little taste of fall. If we go to Tampa, we'll get a little bit warmer, but rain chances will still remain low and be very pleasant throughout the weekend, with lows in the low 90s and lows staying in the low to mid 70s. If you plan to go to New Orleans, it will be a lot of the same story. Rain chances will remain low, and you have those lows and highs in the 70s and 90s. Going into current temperatures across the country, Dallas looking at 95, San Antonio 97, so we're definitely getting scorching still in the Midwest. But as we move up into the Pacific Northwest, we even have a 74 in Billings as the current temperature right now, but seeing a couple of upper 60s in Seattle and San Francisco as well. Current dew points are staying mostly dry in this region, however, so it definitely is more pleasant over there than versus the eastern portions of the country where we see those higher dew points and more humid weather. Current weather across the country, we have a threat for some severe weather up towards Minneapolis and northern Iowa. However, the rest of the country does have a couple low pressure systems moving right here into New York as well. And we'll have some scattered showers and storms possible. However, it will be fairly minimal to most of the country. As we go into SBC storm outlook, again, the threat of showers and thunderstorms are going to be slight, but as we move on into the weekend, they will continue to be non-severe. Rainfall forecast will get to accumulate over the weekend into the central parts of the country, where we can see rain amounts up to 1.5 inches of rain possible, but throughout the rest of the country, we can see trace amounts or even 1/2 inch possible. And going to the temperature outlook for the next 6 to 10 days, it will be staying mostly above normal. So even though fall is coming very soon, just in a couple of days, it sure will not feel like it moving forward. And tonight throughout the country, we'll be staying pretty mild. The hottest temperatures is 78 in San Antonio, but we will be seeing a brisk 52 in Billings and Seattle to enjoy tonight for those all the way in the Pacific Northwest. Tomorrow's temperatures will be sitting 97 again in San Antonio, but we will have some mid to upper 60s and 70s up in the Pacific Northwest. But now as we move into, we are in the middle of hurricane season, so it is only fitting to share our day in weather history as we share today a almanac of, in 1955, Hurricane Ione made landfall near Morehead City, North Carolina. It made landfall with winds over 100 miles an hour, and this was only the 3rd hurricane to cross North Carolina in 5 weeks. And to top that off, actually 16.63 inches of rainfall were recorded in Maysville, North Carolina, and over 40 blocks of New Bern, North Carolina were underwater at some points. That's definitely very life-threatening, especially for the 1950s, as that is catastrophic back then. 7 people lost their lives, unfortunately, and total damages reached around $88 million. And that is quite impressive even back then. I can't imagine what that would be like now. But this is also a reminder to have your hurricane safety tips. So to prepare for an emergency supply kit and know your shelter locations well before a storm hits, it's always good to know this information so that we are aware when something happens, there's no scrambling, there's no panic. But another important tip is to know your flood zone. If you live near the coast, or you live somewhere that's prone to flooding, it is always important to obey those evacuation orders and be aware of what flood zone you're in case if an evacuation order is given to you. And another important thing always is to stay weather aware. Keep up with regular updates from the National Hurricane Center at nhc.noaa.gov, and that will be your key place to check for the most current and accurate weather info. And as we move into the Sportscast for today, this will be our new Thursday night segment, and we're moving into some sports throughout the country that will be happening. So tonight, NFL Thursday Night Football, we have the Patriots versus the Jets in New Jersey. 8-round kickoff tonight. It will stay in the upper 70s, but it'll stay cloudy and gradually decrease as the night moves forward. And another game to look forward to this weekend, we have FSU at home playing California for the first time. How exciting. And about kickoff, it will be into the mid-80s and gradually drop into the upper 70s as the night rolls forward. And also moving on this weekend, USC versus Michigan in Ann Arbor be staying partly cloudy, but in the low 80s into the low 70s throughout the night. Another game to look forward to this weekend in Norman, we have Tennessee versus Oklahoma. It's going to be pretty hot around kickoff at 91 and gradually getting cloudy into the mid-80s throughout the night. And another game for the NFL, we have the Broncos versus the Buccaneers on Sunday playing in Tampa. The weather will be great there, but again, it is Tampa. It will be hot, so please be prepared for that with that sunscreen, water, and hats if you decide to go to the game this weekend. And another game in Minneapolis this weekend, the Texans versus the Vikings. It will be a lot much cooler and more mild up in Minnesota with temperatures around kickoff into the low 60s and pretty much remaining the same throughout your time in the afternoon. Another game to look forward to in Arlington is Ravens versus the Cowboys. Again, in Texas, it's going to be still pretty hot this time of year, so expect highs into the 90s and even upper 80s, but do enjoy some of that sunshine you will have out there. In Las Vegas this weekend, we will have the Panthers versus the Raiders. Highs looking into the low 90s and even the upper 80s, and tons of sunshine to enjoy, endless amounts even. And as we go back into the local, we're looking at places on campus. We see wonderful blue skies and lots of sunshine. Great thing we want to see in Panama City and across St. George and even here on campus. So the Panhandle is looking pretty clear right now, which is great. And we look at our beach cam, we are looking into the low 90s and mostly sunny with south winds at 6 miles an hour. So as we move into the morning beach forecast, looking into the mid 70s and moving into the upper 70s throughout the day. Current local radars looking pretty clear right now. Maybe a sprinkle too is possible, but those will begin to further dwindle down as sundown occurs later on tonight. Current temperatures are staying into the upper 80s and low 90s. It's 91 in Tallahassee right now. Temperature almanac today, we stayed a pretty average today, lows even almost making the average, and highs were a little above average today, but nowhere near records, so that's something good to look forward to today. And dew points are staying fairly moist. It could definitely be worse, but dew points are sitting in the 60s right now, most of the region, and even in the 70s as we go farther down into the coast. And as we move into the next couple of days, putting in the motion here, we have a couple of passing clouds, and those begin to dwindle out as the weekend moves forward, and we have that high pressure system bringing in that drier, slightly cooler air to enjoy. You're going out tonight, partly cloudy skies into the low 70s, calm winds, so it'll be a good time to go out tonight if you decide you want to. And going into most of those lower 70s, we'll stay pretty uniform throughout the region in the Big Bend in South Georgia, 74 in St. Mark's, even 70 in Thomasville tonight. As we move into tomorrow, if you're going to class in the afternoon, lows will be in the low 90s, mostly sunny, and maybe even enjoy that breeze from the northeast at 6 miles an hour. And a lot of those upper 90s and low 80s, upper 80s, low 90s will be across the board tomorrow, 90 in Tallahassee and Bainbridge, and even 87 in Thomasville, upper 80s also at the coast. And as we look into our week ahead, after that high pressure system begins to settle in Friday and Saturday, those rain chances throughout the rest of the week will remain very low, but will begin to increase towards the latter half of next week. Lows will begin to stay into the low 70s and afternoon highs staying pretty uniform in the low 90s. But make sure to follow us on Twitter at FSU Weather, and make sure to like us on Facebook at FSU Weather, and make sure to follow us on Instagram as well at FSU Weather. And as always, subscribe to us on YouTube at FSU Weather if you are watching. And also follow us on TikTok at FSU Weather. This is student meteorologist Daniela Strudy. I hope you all have a great night.